very special guest, Mr. Scott Schwartz, former pro wrestler, actor, stuntman, and a massive charity figure. Scott, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show, especially on Halloween night.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been wearing my Halloween costume year-round. It's just my face.
Now, let me go right into it. You've been, like I said, a pro wrestler, a stuntman, an actor. You're involved with charity. I mean, that's a lot of accomplishments. What are you most proud of, if you had to peg it?
What am I most proud of? Wow, they always just when you think you've heard the hardest question in your life, they come up with another one. I think the thing that I'm most proud of in my life is I continue to carry on my sister's name and by going to cancer hospitals and visiting sick cancer kids in the oncology wards around this country and around the world. And, you know, I'm very pleased to have done that, and I'm very pleased to have put smiles on the face of kids with cancer, because anybody that knows anything about cancer treatment will tell you it's a necessity to keep the spirit of the persons that are being treated uplifted, and I'm very happy and very thrilled to be able to do that, and I'm going to keep doing it. As long as my legs keep carrying me, I'm going to keep going.
That is excellent. Very good answer. We asked that to a lot of people, and that is probably one of the best we've ever heard.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Let me ask you, have you had a high point in your career? Have you had a moment in your career, lengthy as it is, where you've said, well, that was awesome?
Geez, I think any day you wake up and you get up out of bed, I think it's awesome. Me and my cousin were just talking about that, and he was laughing his ass off when I was saying that. And you know, I think that I've had a lot of awesome moments in my life, and I can't really pinpoint one, but I can tell you, when I'm laying on my deathbed, I'm going to have a big smile on my face, and the nurses are going to say, "Hey, dude, you're dying. Why are you smiling?" I'm going to say, "Man, did I have a great life. I really had a terrific life."
No kidding. I mean, just going over your bio and stuff, and I'm familiar with your work as an actor, but I didn't know about the wrestling stuff. And then the charity work, and going through it, I've been so excited to interview you because you have had this kind of a really diverse life. I mean, very cool. A lot of background to it.
I think that in life, I think that everyone has the ability to be anything they want in life. I've categorically said, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I've gone out and done it. And I've been so lucky and so thrilled and blessed by God to have gone out and done it. And I know a lot of people that have gone into one venture after another and failed, and I'm just very happy to say that I've succeeded in 99.99% of the things that I set out to do.
Well, how do you go from wrestling to acting? I mean, how do you make that jump?
Well, I think that wrestling, to some degree, is acting, and I think that once you get in front of the camera and you're doing interviews, and people are asking you questions the same as you have, and you have a second to respond. Back in the days when I did it, we didn't have scripts or anything like that, so you have to come up with something wild off the top of your head, and you would draw packed crowds just by what you said on those interviews. And so I was kind of halfway there, and I never wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to, this agent had approached us in Bakersfield, California. We were wrestling down there, and you guys must know where that is. You're up in the Bay Area?
Yeah, we have many friends from there.
Yeah, so Bakersfield, we used to call it Baker's Finger because it was so hot there. They did a roast. And,
I know it. Oh.
Yeah.
So some nitwit agent came up from Hollywood and went to our matches in Bakersfield, and back then we had rabbit ears, and that was the only way you could get it. There was no cable even. And I hope I'm not time dating myself. And this guy said, "Well, we want to get a couple of you guys into wrestlers. You're big and you have a great look and you can move very well and you can act." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be an actor. I want to wrestle." And he said, well, what do you hope to get out of wrestling? I said, well, hopefully in my last match, I'm going to be carried out of the ring paralyzed to a standing ovation. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm said, no. It would be what every wrestler would want in the world is to be carried out to a standing ovation. And he thought I was nuts. And so I went down, and, you know, it gets in your blood, and you start doing it. And so it became better and better for me. And when I got in the Screen Actors Guild, you know, you're protected. You don't have wrestling promoters that are screwing you out of your money.
Yeah.
You're protected to some degree, and thank God, I've had a pretty good career.
What was it like working on Buffy? I love Buffy.
That's a great question to ask on Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
know.
This is our Halloween episode. We kind of have to ask some obligatory. You worked on Buffy.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
It was great. Sarah Michelle was really cool. Sarah Michelle was a little bit moody.
Really?
There was a lot of people on the set, but I got to tell you, I've really been grateful and thankful that I've got along with a lot of people. Everybody that I've ever worked with, I can't really say that anybody has mistreated me or treated me poorly. I've worked with Don Johnson 3 times on Nash Bridges. I worked with Steven Seagal on the film, and all those guys were very nice to me. Sarah Michelle, on one episode, I play this vampire, and she's going to hit me with the stake, and I'm going to disintegrate. And we're all standing around the set, and the set's kind of tense when she's working because she'll go into a tirade about something, and everyone will be scrambling because they don't want to deal with it. And so Sarah Michelle comes up to me, and she goes, okay, Schwartz, you ready to die? And I look at her, and I just blurted it right out of my mouth. I go, it's a clear case of the world's biggest Jew being killed by the world's smallest Jew. The entire set broke up. They were peeing themselves on the ground, and it was really cool. She really loved that.
Yeah, I like that.
She started laughing, and that just lightened everything up.
That's unreal.
I like the idea of little Sarah Michelle Gellar stabbing you 6'8"
Are you ready to die?
with a stake.
I died a valiant death, put it that way.
No kidding. Let me ask you about your stunt work for a second. What is the craziest stunt you've ever been asked to perform?
You know, I think that when people say stunt, it's a fine line. A stunt guy is somebody who's an ND player on the set. ND means nondescript. You'll see somebody fly through a window or fly through a wall. I've always done my own falls. Of course, coming from professional wrestling, it was second nature for me. So I was able to throw myself through that wall, throw myself through that table.
Yeah.
People would say, wow, this is great. We don't have to double him. And I've also, since I had a strong professional wrestling background, a lot of guys like George Clooney in the Ocean's movies and people where I had to throw a punch or throw a kick. I worked with Randy Quaid in one. They demanded that their stunt doubles did not come in. And I worked with them because they trusted me. So it's enabled me to have quite an extensive career. And I wouldn't say that, you know, really anything that I've ever done could be qualified as solely a stunt. Although there's a stunt involved in my acting, certainly I wasn't hired as a stunt guy.
Definitely.
You know. So that was it.
Yep. I was reading about that. That's very cool that you had that level of trust with your
With Clooney.
with Clooney, with your co-actors. I think that's something that I don't know, you know, too much about the business, but it's not something I hear a lot.
So when you were a kid, is this what you thought you'd be doing?
You know, I just as a kid, and a lot of people don't know this, I talk about it more freely now because nowadays people talk a lot about this. I was really a child who was physically abused by my father. He was terrible. He would beat me every single day, every other day. My sisters would misbehave. I got the beating. if I did something wrong, I got the beating, and it was so cruel and abusive that I went to a suicide ward of a hospital down in